And today we have just an amazing conversation for all of you that is going to change your life. Now, when I tell you that I'm about to change your life, I hope you will hear me and give me a chance to share some information with you that is going to make your life extraordinarily better. A lot of you have heard people talk about things like how to create your own family bank and things like that. And I have my own model for that in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I kind of talk about this sort of thing. But there's also another conversation, and some of you asked me about this, and this is one of the reasons why I'm very happy to have this discussion. But the use of life insurance and how various forms of insurance in related products can actually help you to create basically what becomes your own family bank. So before we get started, before I introduce my guest, I'd like to ask everybody if you could give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm live also on Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. How you doing? Live on TikTok at Boyce Watkins. How's everybody doing on TikTok? And also those of you on YouTube, give me a yes in the chat if you can hear us, and shout out the city that you're from. So let's get started here. And as soon as I see the yeses, I'll know that my audio is good. All right. So Aisha Virzi is someone that I first met. I think I met Aisha in Los Angeles in our first Los Angeles event. I'm going back again September 8th and 9th. Go to boycewatkins.com if you'd like to join us in Los Angeles. But Aisha really impressed me. Aisha has been a student in the Black Business School. She is somebody that has been just very active in terms of really getting our community what we need. And she really knows a lot about some of this stuff, index universal life policies, things like that. So I said, you know what, Aisha, why don't you come by why don't you drop by the studio, so to speak, and talk about what you do. So everybody, please give a warm welcome to Miss Aisha Virzi. Did I say that correct, Aisha?
That's correct. Aisha Virzi is correct.
All right. So Aisha, who are you? What do you do?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Thank you, Dr. Boyce, for having me here today. I am so overjoyed and filled with just gratitude. And for everyone listening, it's so wonderful to be here. I am an immigrant to this country. I've been here for 30 years, and my family is in Nigeria. I'm from Kaduna State. My family is from there. I am one of 10. So I have, yeah, 7 brothers and 2 sisters. And, I've been here. I'm a single generation here. I don't have siblings here with me. I wish I do, but I don't. But just been here working hard and trying to make a difference in my family's life and those that I have the privilege to be a part of their life. But right now, I have my own business as an independent contractor in the financial industry, helping families kind of lay down, the ground for building wealth for generations. So that's what I do now. But that's in a nutshell, that's who I am. I'm married with 2 children, Christopher and Elizabeth, and we live in California.
Ah, okay, very nice. Okay, married, 2 children, and I think you and I, when we talked, I let you know that I think I'm
Nigeria.
43% Nigerian. Yeah, and I'm really proud of that because I mean, yes, I am a descendant of slaves. I got all that lineage in America, but I like the fact that I have that Nigerian blood that goes back because I don't know if you all know this, but when they were rating the cultures that were most likely to produce successful children, educated, things like that, they ranked Nigeria very, very high because the Nigerian culture, and maybe you can tell me, Aisha, if this is true or not, because in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, I talk a lot about culture and family, things like that. And I think that they mentioned that they claimed, again, this is generalization, right? No culture is perfect, but they
Correct.
said that there's a lot of a sense of pride in terms of proud of who you are. There's a commitment to education at a very high level. There's a commitment to delayed gratification, which is basically investing. That's all investing is delayed gratification. It's a sacrifice of something today so you can have more later. And then also a deep commitment to family. Like family is just really important. How accurate would you say my statement is about, the Nigerian culture in general, in terms of an overview?
Like you said, doctor, there is no one perfect culture. And everything you say about Nigeria, all of it is true. All of it is very true. And it's true because I was born and raised there. I was in university back home in Nigeria when I had a chance to come to the United States to further my studies. And that's very true. In our families, we are raised to be doctors, engineers, lawyers. That exactly, even though my parents were not very educated, my father was in the military, but it's just an expectation that you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, and engineer. So that's very true. And hard work. We believe in hard work, like again, delayed gratification. And also, you have an obligation culturally in our culture that when you have made it to make sure that the other ones behind you go to college. Also, you literally have to support the ones behind you. You don't have a free pass. So say, oh, I'm done now, and that's it. So literally everything you make, whatever you gain when you've achieved your goals, you have to literally go back and help your brothers, your sisters, so your parents can take a breather. And then it goes step by step like that for everybody. We're expected to do that. And I've always been like that. So people are always surprised. I say, yeah, because it's part of my obligation to make sure that those behind me are also taken care of. So and the culture allows you to do that because we all live in that communal way where everything depends on each other. You can't be separate. You have to do it together as a family. That's very important to all of us, whether you're from the north, south, east, or west in Nigeria. I'm from the north, but it's the same thing all over.
Okay. So that idea of working together is something that that you agree with in terms
Absolutely.
of wealth building things. And I want everybody to understand that. And in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, I go through that extensively. I think you saw my book, right? Aisha,
That's
you were at the
right.
training.
I read it. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, give me your take on some of if you could think of a couple of thoughts that came to mind just from stuff that was covered in the book. And because I remember you were at the LA training, we did a deep dive 2 days on the concepts of the book. What were a couple of things that kind of stood out in your mind in terms of things that maybe we can apply as a people that will really help us get ahead economically?
The first thing you talked about that really stood out to me was that every person in the family is an asset. Every
Mhm.
person. And that's very true. That person is an asset because whatever they do affects the family. And then as an asset, you're seen as someone that will contribute to the family. So you have something to bring to the table. And so you're groomed that way that eventually, no matter how small you are, you're already being prepared to know that you need to help the family go to the next level. It's just part of the way we grow. So that commandment stood out to me so clearly. And then also when you talked about relationships, right? So our aunties and uncles, we kind of congregate together like in compound kind of way of living. We do that a lot because we believe that family together can do more. And then you're able to also save and preserve whenever the other person goes to the next stage, they have that support that they need. We believe in that very strongly, and we are always planting seeds wherever we go. And when we also till our soil, when we plant and we till the soil, we make sure that we're encouraging everyone to participate. Everyone, what can you bring? What is your portion? Bring it together. Let's put it together and make sure that it happens. And of course, going back home, we're all Black, so we shop from each other. If a family has a business, we go there first. We shop with them, make sure they whatever they need, we buy from them before we go
Mm.
outside to buy from somebody else. And you
Mm.
said that very clearly in your, yeah, we do that, and we also help each other out. If you go to Nigeria, I think you were talking about you went to China in the book about
Mhm.
how they just they all come around you and say, no, I'll get it for you, I'll find it for you. Same thing in Nigeria. If you go to the
Mm.
market in Nigeria today, and I have a let's say I have a provision store where I sell sugar and bread, whatever it is I'm selling. If you come to my store and whatever you're looking for, I don't have it, but I know that my brother that is 4 stores down has it. I will literally have somebody watch my store and take you to that store so you can buy it from my family member.
Wow.
That's
Really?
yes.
Interesting,
It-
interesting, and I love what you're saying, Aisha. And by the way, I'm speaking with Aisha Virzi, and we're talking about a lot of things, but mainly how to create your own family bank. And we're gonna get to things like life insurance in a moment as well. And by the way, if you're listening, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And I want to remind everybody this podcast is on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, just look up my name, you can find it there. And also, I'll be in Los Angeles September 8th and 9th. If you want to join us, just go to boycewatkins.com. And so let me, as you guys hit the thumbs up button, let me jump into something that Aisha just said that I think everyone should pay attention to is those little things like being conscious about who you refer customers to. Just saying, okay, I have a customer here that has money that they want to spend. That's an asset, right? That's an opportunity, and you can't just say, oh, well, just go down to Walmart or go down to Target. No, you serve that customer, right? Number one, so you're letting them know you support them, but then also you find somebody and you say, and I've seen that, right? I knew a friend that was getting some work done in her house, and she said, "Oh, after they finished one part of the house, she said, "Oh, we have this other problem upstairs in the bathroom." And the Mexican group, a group of men, they happen to be Mexican. they were fixing the house. Oh, the guy said, "Oh yeah, my cousin Jesus can fix the thing upstairs in your house."
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, our dishwasher has a problem. Oh, I've got another cousin who can do. I mean, these are economic systems that are just part of the culture. And I think that keeping it in the family, that should just be a core value. And I like the fact that you brought that up. So let me ask you this, Aisha. So in your background, how would you describe economically your experience growing up? Did you grow up middle class, wealthy, poor, somewhere in between, or tell us about that?
That's a good question. I was raised middle class. My father was in the military all my life. So I was born and raised in a military base. My dad was in the Air Force. And my mom owned her own restaurant.
Mm,
So I've been a part of a place where it's very structured. And then also a mom that had a business. So that's where how I was raised. I went to military school. My brothers went to military school. I went to university back home. So that is my background, being able to have education and the necessary things to actually do well. So I feel like I have exposure to both because I live in a military base that's very structured, and then I can go visit my aunties and that are living in the cultural segment, or so that way I can see how both work together. But yeah, so my family is middle class, I will say, and we were blessed to have a great friendship from again within Nigeria from different cultures. So I know how the Yoruba cultures are, the Igbo culture. So I have an idea of all of them because I was born and raised in that situation. So it's very
mm,
unique that way. And I love that because when I came to the United States and never heard about racism, to be honest, none of that. I
mm.
wasn't taught that, never knew about it until I came to America, and I was shocked about that. And I said, wow, really? Somebody think they're better than you because of their color? That's strange because that's a strange phenomenon to me. Like, what? Because here I grew up in a place where 21-year-old young men were alpha jet fighters that were black. They flew jets and they
Wow.
then and they landed and came back home that I knew, grew up with. They're
Wow.
doctors and engineers. They're all black, all of them cadets, highly educated. And then you're telling me that because of my color I can't do something. I'm like, who told you that? So it was very rude and making for me. But as time went on, I began to understand the culture. I said, oh, okay, this is why it's like that. And then I went back to college here, and I said, wow, that's amazing that you can actually judge somebody by their color. It makes no sense, but I understand it
Wow.
now. That I've been here for so long, but it's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's amazing. I'm training to be a pilot, and and it's funny because in terms of how the oppression sinks into our brains as black people, because I someone introduced me to a group of black UPS pilots, and it was sort of exciting. Like, look at this, all these men are pilots. They happen to be all men, and they said, look, it's all these black men that are pilots, and I just I now that you said that, it makes me just kind of think about that, like how we get so excited when we say, oh, you're that one black person who has a really good education, or you're that one. Or when I became a black professor, I was the only black man, African American, on the entire planet to get my PhD in finance. When I got it, there was no male, no female anywhere in the United States I could find anywhere. And I knew all the top, in our field, it's not that it's big, but not big. It's finance, right? So there's a lot of money, so it attracts a lot of people. But I knew every who was coming out, and there was nobody else. And I think that there's something about America where that slavery mindset was really injected into us, and we're not just treated as an underclass. We buy into the idea that we're underclass. That's why you have millions of kids that want to be rappers and basketball players, because they don't think they can be anything else.
Yeah.
Is that something, and I'll ask you this, and then we're going to jump into more about some things like infinite banking and stuff like that. But what would you say, in terms of coming from Nigerian culture, where being black is not a big deal, and you're judged as a human being, not based on the color of your skin, versus coming to the US and just seeing, where maybe some opportunities are wasted, or maybe there's, some inefficiencies that occur in terms of life choices because of how we view ourselves. Like, what did you kind of notice when you sort of came here?
What I noticed, number one, was again what you just said, the idea that you can't do something. It's just something that's very surprising because again, like you said, growing up back home, we're all the same. We're all studying to be doctors and engineers and pilot, whatever we wanted to do, we just went for it. Nobody told. Instead, they even said, they'll tell you the person that took first position, did they have two heads? How come we didn't take first? That's what the parents will tell you. Like, you need to be up on par with everybody else or even better. That's actually
Mm.
how you're being raised to be better than anybody else you come to their purview, right? So, and then asking myself, I'm a daughter of a lion. Well, that's my tribe. That's why when I saw your chin, I said, "Oh my God, see the lion behind me? That's my daughter made that lion because that's my tribe." And I make sure that my kids understand that who I am and where I come from. I say I'm a daughter of a lion. I say so. There's nothing I cannot do if I put my mind to it. So I think the what happens here is when I came, my experience was also, which was funny, was that my brothers and sisters that are African Americans, they didn't want to be my friend because they thought I thought I was better than them. And that was like,
Mm.
what? Far from the truth. I wanted to be their friend. I wanted us to share and say, this is what we do. This is how we do it. Just want to share what we did and how we did it with them. But somehow they didn't see that because of, again, that mentality of you can't do this, or no, that's not possible for you to do. And then
Mm.
somebody like me that comes from a different country, and I do the work, and I do even better than what they thought, and then they're
Mm.
surprised. Now, how come?
Wow.
How is that possible? Well, that's because that's just how you were raised. That you were great, and you're going to do great things. Period.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Everybody, I'm talking to Miss Aisha Virzi, and she is a financial expert and consultant. And we're going to talk a little bit more about things like index universal life policies. I'm going to bring up a term, infinite banking. You're familiar with that term, or
Yes.
being your own bank thing? Okay.
Very.
And we're going to talk about some other things. If you could do me a favor, everybody, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My new Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, you could do that. It's even better, though, to connect via text. And so what I've been doing is sending out stocks that I like once a week. This is not investing advice. I do not give investing advice on this channel. I want to make that clear. But I do send you stocks that I'm buying in case you want to just take a look. So if you'd like to get those profit alerts sent to you, just text the word stock to 31996. You can text stock to 31996. And also I'm going to put Aisha's information up here too, so everybody can sort of follow her and give her a call if you want to sort of find out more about what she does and consult with her. So let's jump into this. I really like, we could go on about this all day about self-esteem and pride and how some people, and give me a yes in the chat if you've ever experienced this, and let me know if you experienced this, because there's a lot of intelligent Black people in this room. Has anybody ever gone through that where people get mad at you just for being proud of who you are? Like, they get upset with you because you believe in yourself, or because you have standards. You set high standards for yourself and for those around you, and people say, "Oh, you're a snob," or "Oh, you're being uppity." I understand that, and you triggered me, Aisha, when you brought that up, because I had a guy. There was a guy who has a big YouTube channel. He's like a million subscribers or something, and he did a video like Boyce is this and Boyce is that. He never met me, and I thought that was very strange. And I said, well, you should probably call me. He's an former NBA player, and he just, for whatever reason, he just decided he didn't like me. And he says, oh, he talks about intelligent Black people. He thinks he's better than everybody else. I'm like, no, I didn't say I'm the only intelligent Black person out there. I'm not I'm not the only Black. I want everybody to be intelligent. And
Absolutely.
I think that we should value intelligence, because stupid people get slaughtered. People without information get slaughtered. People that choose to walk away from knowledge, you get slaughtered. So why would you want your people to continue to get slaughtered? I want Black people to be as educated as possible. I want us to be ahead of the curve. I want us to know what we need to know. So, Aisha, I like what you were saying, that you having standards for yourself does not mean you're looking down on anybody. It's that you're lifting everyone up. You're saying do better, right? Is that accurate?
It's accurate, and just holding each other accountable. It's funny you said that. I was thinking about a time while I was still in management, because I was a market manager many years ago, in the retail industry in the Beverly Hills area. I was overseeing quite a few employees, and I had managers that I trained managers to actually take over locations. So I was promoted toward next level in my company, and some people heard about me because I was going to do a store visit, and some of them quit because I was coming. They said, they don't even know me. They've never met me. They just assume whatever they wanted to assume. And when I got there, they said, oh, yeah, it's what ABC left because they said you were coming, and they said you have too much high standards. You expect too much from people. And I was surprised. But guess what? Those ones that stayed became one of the best people in the company, and they were so grateful that that they got to know me, that they didn't listen to the other people and went with them. The students say, well, I don't know her, let me just get to meet her first. So people can say things, they don't even know you. They'll make assumptions about you, talk about you in a negative light just because, I don't know why. So that happened to me too, and I was laughing. I said, oh my gosh. But the people that stayed with you see who you are and know that you actually care about them so deeply. You want them to do better. You want them to be accountable for what what they want to do or what they want to accomplish. And that sets you apart. And now those same people, where are they today? The ones that said things negative, nobody even know where they are. While the ones that stayed are doing so phenomenal, even though they left the company, but because of what was instilled in them and all the tools and that were given, were able to continue doing better when they left. So
Mm,
I've grown in that space where I'm not worried about what somebody thinks about me. Because if you know that you're a good person and you want to do well and to make a difference in people's lives, people are going to say things about you that are not true. But you have to be confident in what you're doing to just keep going, knowing that the person that created you and gave you the chance to actually do good knows your heart. And that's me.
mm,
That's where I just put all my hopes. I say, you know what, God knows that I want to do good and I want to share what I know. So whoever wants to listen and take my advice, I want to give to them without counting the cost, because I believe that we all deserve to do well. So if that is a bad thing and somebody thinks I'm too uppity, I think I tell them, well, you know what, that's on you, because that's not who I am. I don't feel that way, not in the least bit interested in being that way whatsoever. But if that's what you think,
mm.
well, I don't know what to say. So
Um,
yeah, I totally understand. That's why I like you so much. Because when I listen to you, I say, "Oh my God, he's so similar. His life experience is like mine. He's so hardworking, very knowledgeable. But people want to say things about you that are not true, or they want to like come and find a way to cause some kind of dissension for you just because. But you just
mm.
transcend it anyway. You do well anyway because that's who you are. It's not going to change." And that's exactly what I do. I just keep going. I just keep going.
Well, they have a saying, Aisha, and the saying is that great minds think about ideas, mediocre minds talk about events, and small minds talk about people.
People.
And I would encourage anybody, if you're focused on what you're trying to do and how to be successful and all these other things, focus on something, focus on a big idea, focus on your big vision. Don't get caught up talking about people. When people come to you with gossip and like, oh, he did this and she did that, you gotta elevate above that, because that's gonna have you vibrating on the frequency of a little ground worm, a little snail on the ground, and you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be an eagle that flies. You're supposed
Right.
to be on that vibration, on that frequency. That's the only way you can rise. So don't let people bring you down with that nonsense. So Aisha, let me ask this question. All right, so let's talk about things like infinite banking and this idea that of the use of insurance policies to kind of create your own bank, things like that. When people talk about things like infinite banking, what comes to mind for you?
It's all about leverage, really, when it comes to something like that. It's about leverage. It's about putting some money in a bucket and then expecting it to do more than just what it is doing in that bucket. Right? That's what that means. And I've heard that term being thrown around, infinite banking, being your own bank. But truly, the right way to look at the product, which is an index universal life, it's that it gives you leverage. It buys you time and also buys you safety, time, and growth, right? So that's really what it does, and it protects. But the number one thing that infinite banking we talk about does for you is to protect you for things that are uncertain, right? So you have this, when you create it, you have to go through an underwriting process. Sometimes it requires medical, sometimes it doesn't, depending on the company. Because as a broker, I have access to not just one company, I have access to over 196 company. So the best of the best, whether you are a high net worth person or you're middle income or you're low income, but you want to protect your family, you can actually do based on where you are and what you have. So that kind of banking or insurance policy, what it does is, number one, it protects you. Number two, it gives you a chance to grow your money. And then the tax advantages, because when the money is pulled out properly, you don't have to pay taxes on it, right? And then more importantly, you're able to again pass that legacy to your family if you don't use it. So it is so true that that is one of the tool that I think is underused, especially in our community, because there is something to say about you saving money to accumulate for the future, which you talk about so beautifully, and I love it. And I think I love also what you do because you simplify it so much that even a sixth grader can understand what you're saying. $5 a day savings. Because if you what you teach, if I have to go on get a dictionary to read what you tell me to do, then that's too complicated. But you simplify it so much. So if you can you spend $5 to buy fast food, how about if you save that money for something for your future? So I love that. So when it comes to again putting money aside and creating a family bank, it means with the small money that you have, you go through underwriting, you're approved, and then you contribute to this. You're contributing a portion of your money goes to pay your debt benefit, and a portion goes as cash value, and it's growing. And as the more you put, the more the money is growing, and literally that money you don't lose that money. You cannot be sued for that money. So it's a very powerful tool to have that helps you, mitigate losses and also give you something for the future that your family can actually gain from you for because you put something aside. And also somebody that is not very savvy in the market or scared about the market and wants very minimal risk is powerful for them because then they know you have something that you can leverage to put in case something happens to you, whether now or in the middle, you have something in place for your family. And then if you don't use it, trust me, the money you accumulate, your kids can inherit it or whoever it is that one can inherit it. Or if you are retiring and you want to bridge your retirement, you can start taking systematic withdrawals or distribution to mitigate that as well. So it's really very powerful. I'm saying it very simply because I want people to understand it that the number one thing to do is just start. Call someone that is, you know, really good in that space and let them help you. Because it has to be set up properly as well for you to make the right money that you need. If you want to make money, you have to actually put more money in as well for you to make more money. So it just depends on what you want to do with it. It's very, very flexible. Very flexible. I really encourage if you don't have anything in place, take a look at it if you can. But if not, there are other things you can do as well you can be helped that can protect you, right? But doesn't require you to put a lot of money down. So there's so many things you can do. But infinite banking, I really believe you can do it. Do it. Do
Mm.
it.
All right, everybody. I'm talking to Miss Aisha Virzi, and we're talking about things like infinite banking, being your own bank. We've talked about this, the creation of a family bank, and I'll give you my 2 cents on it in a second. After I ask you all, could you please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, I'll be in Los Angeles September 8th and 9th. If you'd like to join us in LA, just go to boycewatkins.com. And also, the All Black National Convention happens October 20th in Atlanta. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com to learn more. I'm also going to put Aisha's phone number on here. So those of you that are also listening on Spotify, you can look up my name on Spotify, find us there. Aisha's phone number, if you want to do a private consultation with her and just talk to her about some of these ideas, her phone number is 626-340-5746. So grab a pen. If you're listening, I'm going to repeat it one more time for those of you that can't see the screen. It's 626 340-5746. 626-340-5746. Her name's Aisha Virzi, Virzi. So feel free to reach out to her if you have questions. Now, Aisha, one of the things that I firmly believe, and I write about this in my book, is that one of the biggest challenges that our people struggle with. And my wife and I talk about this a lot. My wife's a therapist, and we talk about things like we created the first ever Black financial therapy department in the Black Business School, where we work with the best therapists to understand the psychological barriers that keep us from building Black wealth, as well as the psychological implications of things like financial trauma and financial anxiety and things like that, or even things like irrational exuberance. Irrational exuberance, in case you all don't know, is what happened when the market was doing really well. When the market was going crazy, people were buying all these crazy cryptos and just throwing money at anything, signing up for things like BitConnect, these Ponzi schemes, stuff like that. And so money is very psychological. And so on that downside, one of the biggest things I think that people struggle with, give me a yes if you agree, is just financial security, just not feeling secure. Give me a yes if you've gone through this or you know what I'm talking about. But where you're stressed out every night, you're in a cold sweat while you're in bed. You're worried about where you're gonna get your next dollar from. Maybe you end up doing desperate things to get money because you don't have enough, and that's spreading like a virus. That's the real pandemic, because you live in a country where financial security is dropping every single day. I'll give you all an example. in the last couple of years, inflation has been absolutely outrageous, right? Give me a yes if you understand. If you've been following this, inflation is super high. Wages are not going up with inflation. Wages are not going up with inflation. But you know who benefits from inflation? Wealthy people and investors. Investors. There's something, look it up. It's called asset inflation. Asset inflation says that if I own property and there's inflation, then the value of my homes are going to go up. Me and my wife are in the category. We own property, and our home values go up with the rate of inflation, probably higher. Asset inflation means if I own stock and there's inflation, the value of my stocks go up. But if you don't own property and you don't own stock and you don't have any investments at all, then unfortunately you don't benefit from that. It's almost like you're racing down the freeway against people that are driving Lamborghinis and you're on foot, and their Lamborghini just got faster. So that gap between working class people and the rest of and wealthy people is growing every single day. I'm sorry, folks. I wish I could fix it. I wish I was president of the United States and I could tell them what to do. I'm actually voting for Cornel West, not to tell anybody who to vote for. I want to make that clear. I don't tell you what to invest in. I don't tell you who to vote for. I don't give investing advice. I don't give political advice. Let's be clear. But I'm voting for Cornel West, who is a Marxist, not because I'm a Marxist, but because American capitalism has hurt a lot of people. It's very stressful, because they don't want to allow workers to have this, that financial security. So here's the point. Aisha, I'm gonna pass the ball back to you. I think that in order for you to deal with the economy as it's changing and to really prepare your children for what's coming, it's very important that you understand not just how to obtain financial security, but do something even more primitive before that. Make sure you even know what financial security looks like. A lot of us don't even know what financial security looks like. We're like, you think you're financially secure, and then something bad happens. You're like, oh, I wasn't as secure as I thought. Well, financial security is, and again, when I worked on my dissertation, Aisha, all we did was we sit around and think about risk and study risk, which is connected to insecurity, right? That's what insecurity is. It's the risk that something bad can happen. And what I've concluded is that in the Black community, I don't know if we have an accurate assessment of risk. Like if you have one job, I don't care how much money you make, but if you have one job and you live in paycheck to paycheck and that's your own stream of income, you are in a dangerous financial situation, especially if you're single or by yourself. It's a tough spot. So as I pass the ball back to Aisha, because I'm very passionate about this, and I don't want to overtalk it, I encourage you to really study what financial security looks like and then obtain that. And one of the starting points could be some vehicle. I'm not recommending this per se one way or the other. Aisha's number is up here, though. If you want to call her, she's a very nice lady. She'll talk to you. But I'm not recommending it. I'm not telling you what to do. But I am saying that one thing you may want to consider is something like this, just to see if that's something that can help you. Because the way security is built is it's built like a secure building, or the way you build a castle or a fort. It's built brick by brick. This is not fast money stuff. This is not get rich quick. This is not flip a house and make $1 million tomorrow. This is none of that stuff. This is consistent allocation of your income at a small level, so that over time you build something strong, something big. Aisha, I'm also passionate about it because I just had a cousin who died at the age of 50, who had no insurance, no nothing, because his family was sending me links to donate to the GoFundMe. And that made me sad. It made me very, very sad. So this is a big problem in our community. So Aisha, I pass that ball back to you. Can you kind of talk to us about sort of maybe some of these things that we've asked about, like index universal life and things like that, and just specifically like what does it protect me against if I go into something like that?
Wow. And I know when you talked about losing a family member and you said that there was nothing in place and he's 50 years old, that made me sad because that's something that's very common that we're seeing, but more importantly in our community. And that's where it hurts the most, because I know that we can do so much better just by making small tweaks in our lifestyle. And something also you mentioned that was so true is about security, financial security. What does that look like? What does that entail? Right. And if maybe in the financial industry, actually being in the forefront where we actually are the ones that actually put things in motion for clients or families, we see how just making a small move, just small change, can reduce that stress that you feel. Because a lot of times families are worried about their children. They worry about, okay, if something happens to me, will my kids be in this home? They have that fear behind their mind, and they think if they just work harder and they make more money, that will take care of it. But then you realize that that is not true, because life goes on. You will get sick. Something might happen that stops what you're trying to do. What do you have in place now to mitigate that, to help you leverage while you're going through that difficult time, then you can take care of your family without worrying too much. So we go down and talk more about, like, say, the psychology of it. So we do what we call the financial needs analysis. We actually sit down with you and see, okay, what are your goals, do as a family? What do you want? Do you want protection? Do you want to accumulate money? What is more important to you? Then, based on that, then we craft a nice recommendation that suits you. So there's no one size fits all. There's no such thing. Even about talking about the Index Universal Life and how powerful a tool it is, but maybe somebody's cannot afford it. Maybe just want to make sure that their families are okay no matter what happens, that their family will be fine. So now, an Index Universal Life, particularly if you have that, say it has living benefits. So if you get sick prematurely, you have critical illness or chronic illness, the client can actually advance and use the policy for themselves. But if they don't use it, the money that is the portion of the money that goes to the cash value is growing, right? So they have that stability of the growth, and it's indexed whereby if the market goes down, their gains or their credits are locked in, right? It's locked in. So no matter what they have, the money is in there. They don't have to worry about losing their money. And then the most important thing again is tax advantages, because whatever money we make, we're going to pay tax. People forget to calculate taxes. No, you have to pay tax. But in this particular product or tool, you don't have to pay. Whatever money you take out, if it's taken out properly, really, you don't have to pay taxes on it. And it's true, but people don't believe that. It's so true. So that's how it can be very beneficial to somebody just starting out. And while they have again, we believe you have to diversify your portfolio. Diversification is very important. If you like real estate, a portion, great. Invest, you put your money in investments, insurance, right? And you're saving for rainy days, for your emergencies. Is so underrated, but you have to save money for your emergencies, right? And then being an entrepreneur. Don't depend on only one job, right? Like someone like me, if somebody in hearing me today, if you're interested in being in the financial industry, talk to me. I can tell you what I do. If you want to be a part of it and make extra money, why not, right? Because we're always looking for a way to make extra income. But insurance in itself really gives you peace of mind. That to me is one thing that is done for my family that money cannot really buy, because you know that whatever happens to you today, tomorrow, your kids, your family will be taken care of no matter what. That's something that is so important. No matter who you are, find a way to save in your own capacity. If you're making 50 grand a year, buy something that you can pay $10 a month to protect your family. It is worth it. So when you go to bed at night, you're not constantly in an angst, scared and worried about your children or your wife. You've taken care of that, right? And then if you make more money in future, then you can do what we call a conversion to a permanent one. It's up to you, but please don't be afraid. There's so many ways you can accomplish that goal without stressing yourself or being so afraid or doubt yourself. Just talk to us. We can help you. Honestly, we can help you take care of that so you can make wise decisions. Absolutely.
All right, everybody. I'm speaking with my Miss Aisha Virzi, and what's the name of what's the name of your company, Aisha? By the way,
So the company that I'm a part of is World Financial Group. World Financial Group is actually a platform. They don't have a product. We have providers. So like someone like me, like I'm an independent contractor. If you come to me, I have the access because of the company to show you companies that will best suit you. Like right now, I can't talk about products because there's so many product providers on the platform that unless I talk to you one on one, I can't start talking about products, is right? Because it's just a platform. So I'm a business owner within that platform. Really, we're a distribution center. That's who we are. We distribute financial product to families that look like us. And we're actually encouraged to go to our community to serve them, because while we're waiting, nobody's going to come serve us. So we have to now be licensed to go and help people in our community. And I take pride in that, because really in the finance, people think you have to have big degrees to be in finance, but because they believe that the underserved need to have people that look like them serving them so they can actually come to their level and explain to them what they're getting and why it's important. I really pride myself in that. So that's where my business is based on. It's World Financial Group.
Okay. All right. And by the way, if anybody wants to talk to Aisha about anything related to financial security or these insurance programs, things like that, feel free to call her 626-340-5746. That's 626-340-5746. Tell her that Dr. Boyce sent you. And but I want you to make your own decision. I want to make this
Correct.
clear. I do not give investing advice. And I have to make that clear because I support a lot of black owned businesses on this platform, and I want to see black people do well. And so sometimes black owned businesses don't succeed, and someone says, well, you told me what to do. No, I'm not here I don't tell anybody what to do. So give me a yes in the chat if you understand. I'm not telling you what to do, but I am I saw the system, what she's doing, and I like what she's doing. I like her value systems, and I just kind of I like the idea. Here's what I like as well. I like the idea of us really understanding what financial security looks like. If you want to understand a basic way to understand risk and security, here's the simplest way to look at it. Just do banks do what they call a stress test or a what if analysis. I want you to look at your life and say, what if? What if I died tomorrow? I like literally, what if I died tomorrow? Who's going to pay the mortgage? Can they get access to the money? Things like that. What if my partner dies? What if I lose my job? What if my business goes belly up? What if I have a sudden expense to hit me? Do those what if analyses. And then when you see areas where you might be vulnerable, you want to sort of go ahead and prepare for that. One rule of finance is that, when times are good, you prepare for when times are going to be bad, because there's always going to rain. There's always going to be a tough time. There's always going to be a good time eventually, long term, right? If you hold out long enough, eventually things get better. But then if your things are going well, don't assume they're going to be good all the time. They're eventually, you're going to have a rough spot. Everybody does. We all go through this. And also, I want to encourage everybody. Again, this is going to be hard for you. This is not everybody isn't going to even get this or even listen. People only listen, Aisha, when they're in the middle of a crisis. Anybody got relatives in their family where you warn them all day long. You better go to school, you better work hard, you better save your money, and they don't listen. They think you're being uppity, or you're telling them what to do, or you're getting in their business, and they don't want to hear a word you're saying. But then when the chickens come home to roost, when stuff goes bad, they're the first ones on the phone crying, I can't pay the bill. I need help. Can you? That's the story of my life, Aisha. That honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm a logical person. I'm a mathematician. I know that 2 plus 2 is 4, but I also am an emotional person. I'm passionate about what I do, and that drives a lot of what I do. It's like the logic is being pushed forward with the passion. And I wrote this book really because of not just because of the training I've had over teaching college students for 30 years, but it was life experience. I've
Correct.
been a black man my whole life. And I can't tell you how many times I got on the phone with people in my own family cussing them out. I'm sorry, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I'll be like, I'm sick of this shit. I warned you about this 10 years ago when you out partying and didn't want to go to school and didn't want to make a plan and didn't want to save and didn't want to invest. I thought that I was just running my mouth and being uppity. Now look at you. Now look at your life right now. Now look at where you are. And you're coming to me because there's pressure. I have the pressure, Aisha, of being the rich person in the family, right? So I can't tell you how many people. I probably get 50 people a month that ask me for money. I kid you not. That's literally my life. And I'm sorry, when you come to me, it is something that I've been talking to you about, or you had no interest in anything I was talking about until you say, "Oh, I'm in a crisis now. Let me call Boyce." Like, oh, I'm gonna give you an earful. I might give you a couple of dollars. I might help you out, to whatever. I want to see you get a second chance. I understand we all make mistakes, but there is a cultural problem in our community, people. We have a cultural problem that must be confronted. And the cultural problem is that nobody wants to plan for the future. Everybody wants to sit around and not prepare. And then when everything goes bad, it's like, oh, Lord, Jesus, no, Jesus didn't. I think God warned you, right? He sent you all kinds of warnings and opportunities. The word poor, another acronym, and I'm going to stop, Aisha, because you see when I start getting triggered, it drives me crazy. The word poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly.
Totally.
And I'm not saying that things don't happen. I'm not saying that it's not hard being black. I'm not saying that everything's your fault. I'm not blaming anybody in here.
No.
But what I am saying is that there is something called accountability. There is something called preparation. There is something called delayed gratification. I used to fight with other guys in college when I'm talking about almost got into a fist. I almost got beat up over this. Well, I told some guy, I said, you're sitting around drinking, getting drunk every day, sleeping with all these women, wasting all your time. You think you're going to be in the NFL, and nobody from the University of Kentucky ever goes to the NFL. That's what I told him. I said, y'all aren't that good. You're the worst team in the SEC, but you think you're going to make money playing football, and you're not studying. And I said, what's going to happen is 20 years from now, I'm going to meet another Negro just like you. That's how I'm going to meet a Negro just like you, who's going to get mad at me because I'm rich and he's not, or because I'm doing well and he's not. And he's going to say I got lucky, or he's going to say I'm uppity, or whatever. I think I'm better than him. No, it's because I prepared. You have to prepare, people. You know, so here's my thing. And Aisha, I'm going to let you get the last word. I don't care what you do, what you sign up for. Again, I got Aisha's phone number up here if you want to call her and talk to her. I like Aisha. That's why I invited her in here, because she's a supporter of the Black Business School. You have our back. We try to have yours. That's one of the reasons why I said, Aisha, why don't you come on in and tell people what you do? But I want you to judge it for yourself. Her number's here, 626-340-5746. You can give her a call. But the thing I want everybody to at least consider is, find something that you're doing on a regular basis that is contributing to your long-term security, right? So what does that mean? Well, most wealth is accumulated through this thing called compound interest, and that wealth is acquired by someone making a consistent contribution to something, consistently putting money in a pot, consistently doing the same thing over and over again, and accumulating. That's all wealth is. All wealth is an accumulation process where you've been accumulating something. Like if I'm trying to lose weight, I'm accumulating exercise hours. If I'm trying to I don't know, if I'm gaining weight, I'm accumulating meals at food that I'm eating, putting in my stomach, right? It's all an accumulation. Snowstorm, it's just an accumulation process. Trillions of snowflakes repeatedly hitting the ground. Eventually you got 3 feet of snow. So what is your accumulation process, right? Because here's the thing. Here's what you got to understand. Nothing that Aisha would talk to you about doing is any different from what you're doing already. You're already doing an accumulation process. You're already consistently making payments that contribute to wealth, but it's not your wealth. Right. For example, and I promise that's the last thing I'm going to say.
Please, no worries.
How many of you pay your rent on time every month? How many of you pay like religiously on time every month, consistently? Give me a yes in the chat if you do that. Well, that's an accumulation process. You're accumulating wealth for your landlord. You pay rent consistently. You pay your $1,500 a month. You've been doing it for the last 20 years. Oh, he's going to flip that $1,500 a month and turn that into hundreds of thousands of dollars in wealth, because that money's being invested and it's accumulating compound interest, which is the reverse of what Aisha's talking about doing, right? How many of you pay your car note on time? How many of y'all have been driving for 20 years and you're consistently paying your car note because you don't want to have bad credit? You don't want to lose your car. Give me a yes in the chat if you pay your car note on time. Well, then you've been doing the same thing. That's a consistent accumulation process. I can say the same thing about your insurance or anything else that you put money into consistently. All that's being discussed here is basically just sort of saying, and I hope we don't sound uppity when we encourage you to care about yourself in this way, but all we're saying is keep doing that same thing. Keep making those monthly payments. Just make sure at least one of those monthly payments is for you. That's it. One of those payments is for you. So that same money you're pouring into that car note, you just pour it into, it could be an index universal life policy if you want, or it could just be the $5 a day plan, which is on my website, boycewatkins.com. It's totally free. Just something that you're doing consistently where you're making some monthly payment to pay off your future. You don't just pay off your house. Don't just pay off your car. Don't just pay off the landlord's house. Pay off your own future so that when you get to the year 2040 or your kids get there, they're going to arrive with some sort of asset that they can lean on to have financial security. If you don't prepare now, then there will be nothing there in the future. Aisha, please, I'll let you get the last word.
I absolutely agree everything you say. And as you were speaking, what came to my mind was, like you said, you pay yourself first. And that's how you pay yourself, knowing that you have something put aside for you. Because when you don't have any ownership, you're, again, giving to somebody else. Because you have to live somewhere. So you're giving to somebody else. You're building their own family legacy for them. So I think Doctor is absolutely right to think about pay yourself first by putting things that will benefit you and your family for the future. And again, one thing I also noticed too, like as you were speaking, was we can actually do this for all, like you say, for starting for your kids before they're even born. Right. So you start something already because you know that no matter what, that accumulation process will go somewhere, either to somebody else, either to a car note. But is it better that you learn what is the best way to do it, so that way you're not making costly mistakes as you're doing it, or you're wasting time, unnecessarily wasting time just because you're doing what the Joneses are doing. And do you know what's also funny? Our community spends so much money, so much billions per year for hair, for alcohol, things that really does not build something for us. As you spend it, it's gone. It's gone. Nothing. So how about if we just maybe allocate a few to that $5 a day savings for our children? We do that $5 a day. We do that, or get something in place to make us have peace of mind. It can be done. It's just about sitting down and making it a priority and being accountable, because we are just here to really help, just share what we know, so that if it will benefit you, great. But don't just not do anything, because that idea that our community will have zero net worth in the year 2053, to me is personal and very actually annoying to me that somebody actually say that and actually print it. It's like, no, we're better than that. We're hard workers. Some of us working 2, 3 jobs, and you're going to tell us that we're going to have zero network at that time. Why is that? Because we're giving money to other people and not putting it where it's supposed to be, or we're not allocating properly, right? Doctors talks about it all the time. Start something small, $5 a day, right? Protect your asset, protect what you have, protect it, because this is for your the next generation. People that have sat down with plan for second, third, and fourth generation. Are we doing that? We should do that. It's very important, because if you don't think about the next generation, I don't care about my family. You should care about your family. Maybe it's your cousin you care about, or maybe it's your mom or your grandma. Because of them, do something, right? It's so important that we do that. So I appreciate you, and you can start for your kids as 2 weeks to at the age 80. So it's not too late to start. You can always start. But the sad thing is, if you wait, illness might stop you from now doing what you want. Illness or things that you don't plan for may happen to you, and now you can't even get, even when you have the money, you can't even get it.
Mm.
So the sooner you know you can do something, just ask for help. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just literally your time to see what you have on ground and what is your next step. What is my next move? And me, I take it really personal that hearing that statistics upsets me personally, because I know we work hard. I know that we have people that are smart, that are doing everything that they can every single day to make things better. So that statistic should be put like quashed and say, no, we are going to change it, because you know what, we are smart people. We've done so much. We are part of people that built this country, so we are not going to be put behind and say we're going to be zero network because we're not doing the right things. The information is out there. Dr. Boyce talks about it all the time, and somebody like me, I'm able to help you actually put it in place if that works for you, right? So take advantage of it. Don't let anybody make those things a reality because we didn't make a move. We're not
Mm.
going to let that happen. Not on our watch. As God knows that He put us here for a reason, we are going to live according to what God has called us to do. To be the voice that keeps saying things, saying, no, get on the right track, get on the right track. No, you're better than that. You can do this. And we have to hold each other accountable. We have to hold each other accountable at the end of the day. And lastly, Doctor, this is a story that I love. They say if you, as a husband or a father or an uncle or aunt or brother, if you're going to leave town, you might tell your mom, or tell your wife, or whoever it is, I'm going out of town. I'll be gone for these days. Please take care of my whatever it is that you're leaving behind that is important to you. You ask them for help. Take care of it for me, because you know that you'll be coming back. That's the dream and your wish you have, that you'll be coming back. What if you go for 2 weeks? You might just leave a short note for 1 week, but if you're going to be gone for 2 weeks, you might say, you know what, and I have plans to be watered in my garden. Please water my plants. Please take care of this, and I have a bill coming in. Please make sure that bill is sent in for me. You will give a more detailed reason of what needs to be done while you're gone for a long time. What if you're gone for a month? Also, more detailed
Mm.
note will be left, a short enough for a short time, and that note gets more complicated because you're going for a longer time. But guess what? What if you never came back and you're a parent? What if you never came back? Think about
Mm.
that. That's very important that you think about these things. That if I can write a note just for going away for 1 week and 2 weeks and a month, what if you never came back home?
Mm.
It's important for us to think about these things because we deserve it. We are good people. We've worked hard and we're still working hard to today. It's not going to stop. So put things in place. Dr. Boyce is really the voice that, to me, once I found Dr. Boyce, I first said, this is the voice I want to listen to, that gives us tangible things we can do to change things, tangible things, right? And coming to the level where we can all understand it and actually take action right away. So that's what we should be, all of us should be doing. And I hope that our time today, has been meaningful and has brought value. Doctor, I'm so grateful for you. I cannot even believe I'm talking to you. You can't even believe, before this meeting, I was praying. I said, Lord, I can't believe this is happening. Can't wrap it around my brain. But God make things happen because He knows that our heart is in a good place. We want to help our people, and you can count on me. I can talk to you tomorrow about what we need to do based on what I know and where I'm from, so that if one person's life is changed, then my life will have been worth it. And that to me is what I believe. So thank you again. I appreciate you so much, and your wife, what you guys are doing, and I'm just so grateful.
Well, thank you for saying that, and I'll tell you what, I appreciate you as well, and you did great. You did such a great job because I never talked to Aisha on the air before. We had talked privately at the event and everything, and this has been like so much fun, and I just love the fact that, like, if y'all want to know what keeps me going, it's the fact that there are people like yourselves out here that get it, that understand, and I wish there could be more of us, but I'll tell you, Aisha, that whole statistic about black wealth going to zero, that's not going to apply here. We're not even going to speak that into existence, right? So, like, and so everybody, what I would encourage you to do is, whatever decision you make, I encourage you to make a move. Make a move. Just type the word move in the chat. Whatever your move is, I don't know what it's going to be. Whatever you choose, just take the information that's here, make some sort of a move. Now, if you wanted to talk to Aisha directly, I kind of feel like your phone's going to be flooded, but she wants to share her phone number. And her phone number is 626-340-5746. That's 626-340-5746. So everybody that's listening on Spotify, if you look up my name on Spotify, you can find the podcast there. Her number is 62. I'll give it one more time: 626-340-5746. Also, Aisha, you're going to come to the LA event
I
on
will
the
be
8th
there.
of
I'm coming with two people.
Oh,
Welcoming.
wow. That's so great. I love that. Yeah. So if you want to meet her in person and meet me in person, I will be in Los Angeles September 8th and 9th. We're going to do a 2-day Black Wealth training camp. And this is going to be the first time I'll ever focus on what I do. I asked some of you all what you wanted me to cover. And of course, we can do things like stock options, stock markets, and stuff like that. But some of you would ask me, how do you take your expertise and build a brand around it, or take something that you know how to do and create a business around it? Well, I can say that we've done okay, without any help. We didn't get any help from white people, because white people are scared of men like me. We didn't get any help from the government, and even some of the black people that didn't, cared about what we were doing. It was very difficult, by the way, Aisha, because the culture in 2007 when we got started was very different, where there weren't a lot of people interested in wealth in the community, and the culture has shifted, and we're happy to be a part of that. Well, long story short, what we have been able to do is we've gotten almost 1 billion views on all of our videos. We have over 1 million
Wow.
subscribers on different YouTube
Wow.
channels. We've raised probably about 20 to 25 million dollars, most of which we put right back into the Black community. We were able to get support to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The institutions like Dr. Claude Anderson's Harvest Institute, which was a very big deal, because a lot of celebrities would call him and say, "We love what you're doing," but they wouldn't support. They don't understand that, if you want something to succeed, you got to financially support it, because, you can't, freedom ain't free. Freedom is not free, Black people. So we didn't just, we wouldn't just show up and tell Dr. Anderson how much we loved him. We wrote checks. And we wrote checks to a lot of Black owned schools, and we've hired lots of Black people. And that's because that's what industry looks like. And so in this session, and it's probably gonna be the only time I'm going to do this, but I'll break it all down. I'll explain. I'll tell you everything in terms of how we do stuff, how we think about things. So if you want to join us in LA, just go to boycewatkins.com. That's my website, boycewatkins.com. Also, the All Black National Convention's coming, allblacknationalconvention.com. It's October 20th in Atlanta. So if you'd like to come out, feel free to do that. And Aisha, I'll give her number one more time in case you want to give her a call and just talk to her. Well, please, if you call her, please be respectful. Call for a good reason. Don't just call because she's got a husband, guys. So chill out. But her number is 626-340-5746. All right. So thank you so much, Aisha.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. And it was a pleasure and an honor. And thank you all to everybody on Instagram. And we will see you all very, very soon. And hit that thumbs up button on your way out. We will see you soon. And Latanya, we do not have dates for the African trip yet, but we are almost done with that deal. We are going to go to Africa next spring. So thank you for asking. So I'll check with you guys soon. God bless you. Take care now. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Great.